Hey there, I am Kathy, a registered dietitian nutritionist, certified personal trainer, and I specialize in working with active women over 40 to help you find nutrition and wellness habits that are sustainable to help you live your most active, longest life possible while maximizing energy and metabolism. So, welcome. We are now currently fully in the midst of the holiday season. And during the holiday season, while this can be a really happy, joyous time for some people it's not so much. But for all of us, it can be a really high stress time of year. You may be running around, all the parties, the shopping, everything seems to be happening all at one time, and that can be a little overwhelming. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about stress and emotional eating. Those two things go hand in hand. When you're super stressed, those hormones cause you to crave sugary fat foods because that's like the fastest form of energy you can find. But you're also running around and you're busy. And so a lot of times we have a tendency to not fuel our bodies properly. Maybe we skip meals. Maybe we just have like a handful of nuts or something while we're driving the kids around. Whatever the reason is, if you're not eating enough, your body is also going to crave some of those fatty, salty foods as well, because fat is a very efficient form of energy. Energy being calories. There's more calories in a gram of fat than there is in a gram of protein or carbohydrates. So these are the two foods that we really have a tendency to crave when we're feeling stressed or emotional. And so I want to talk about some tools that we can use to kind of help curb those cravings. First of all, this is a time when you really should not be skimping on your stress management routine. And for each person, that's going to look very different. It's whatever calms you. And I know a lot of you probably already have your routine down, whether that's yoga or meditation, breathing exercises, going for walks, or gardening, whatever it is that you love to do that calms you. You need to continue to practice that regularly, because if you fall off of that, you're more likely to really feel the effects of the stress during this season. So, in terms of nutrition, though, you really want to make sure you're fueling your body. That means eating at least 3 full meals a day, if you can, at regular intervals. When I say regular intervals, I mean if you're eating 3 meals a day, it could be every 4 hours or every 5 hours. It doesn't have to be exact, but you really kind of want to keep it as equally spread out as possible, because that helps you to manage your blood sugars better. And when those blood sugars tank, that's when you start to really crave those sugary foods. Um, Start with a really healthy breakfast. Don't skip breakfast. It's so important to kick off your day. Have anywhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein, some good healthy whole grains, and plenty of veggies and fruit at each meal. And that's great. If you have a tendency to get hungry or feel tired between meals, you should add in a couple of snacks and make sure those snacks have good amounts of protein. So if you're only eating 3 meals a day and you have at least like 4 or 5 hours between your meals and you start to feel a little sluggish, add in those high protein snacks. All right, when you are craving sugar, try to eat some fruit. Fruit has fiber that helps to keep you fuller longer, and it gives you that nice boost of sugar. If you really just want like some chocolate, dark chocolate has great amounts of antioxidants, and it's a little lower in sugar than some of the other sweets you might grab instead. And so have a piece of dark chocolate with your fruit. That fruit, like I said, that fiber is going to help keep you full and satiate you for a little bit. Stay hydrated. Making sure you have plenty of water is critical. All right, next, you want to minimize how much added sugars and fatty, ultra-processed, salty foods that you eat. This uh, may not be an immediate solution, but your body gets used to what you give it. And so if you're used to eating a lot of added sugar in your day, your body is going to crave that. Same thing with the fatty, ultra-processed foods, fried foods. The more you eat of them on a regular basis, the more your body is going to crave them. These foods do not have a lot of nutrients in them. So basically, they're taking the place of foods that would provide you more vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and in the long run, they can have some negative health consequences. And so it's good to start cutting back on those. You can start doing that gradually. That works well for some people. And over time, your body will get used to less and less. Or for some people, it works better to just go cold turkey. And that's completely up to you and what works for you. But those foods, the more you eat of them, the more you're going to crave them, especially when you're stressed. It's going to get out of control if this is a habitual thing. Okay, next, you want to be mindful about when you're feeling hungry versus feeling emotional. And that may not be so obvious all the time. And so there are a few questions I like to ask myself that help to answer that question for me. First of all, has it been a while since I've eaten? Do I physically feel hungry? Have I had enough to eat throughout my day? And lastly, am I feeling stressed or emotional? Now, that seems like an obvious question, but sometimes you may not notice that you're feeling stressed or emotional until you check in with yourself and ask that question. So if you're being honest with yourself on these questions when you answer them, then that'll tell you whether or not your cravings are related to emotions or if you're actually hungry. And like I said, if you're fueling your body properly throughout the day, you're less likely to crave those sugary or fatty foods. So once you know whether or not this is actual hunger or emotional cravings, then you have more control over that craving. You can decide whether or not you still want to have that food. If you've ever had a craving and you indulge in that craving, and then after you're done eating it, you say, oh, gosh, I wish I hadn't have eaten that because I feel even worse. Or if, for instance, you're craving potato chips and you start eating the potato chips and you just keep eating it and go through an entire bag of potato chips, and then at the end you're like, that didn't satisfy my craving. Well, those are emotional cravings, and if you know that it's an emotional craving, then you can say, okay, do I want to eat this? And you'll have a little more control over how much you eat. Because in the instance of the potato chips, where you just keep eating because you're not feeling satisfied, you know that the reason you're not feeling satisfied is because you didn't actually want the food. You needed an emotional support. And so then you can stop yourself, or you have more of an ability to stop yourself because you're aware of why you're eating this food. So it is okay. I'm talking about if you go ahead and eat that food, it is okay. You do need some indulgences once in a while. It's just important to be mindful of why you're having that indulgence. All right. So Then on the opposite, if you decide that you don't want to indulge in this craving, you don't feel like it's worthwhile, that's an important time to start utilizing those stress management tools that you have. And if you haven't found your stress management tools, start looking for them now. Just start trying out some different things, like do breathing exercises, take a yoga class, download a meditation app, or, whatever it is that you feel like you would enjoy that would calm you. Try it out, see if it works for you. But it's really, really important to have those tools in your tool belt. All right. Now, if you need a community of other women who are over 40, active, going through a lot of the same things that you are, join me over in my Facebook group. It's called Fit, Fearless, and Fed Women Run the World. And I hope to see you over there. Until next time.